Life along the Nile is a compelling topic that encompasses the rich history, culture, and ongoing significance of the Nile River as a lifeline to civilizations. The Nile, the world's longest river, has been the cradle of human development, particularly through Egypt and Sudan, where it flows northward into the Mediterranean Sea. This river is more than just a waterway, it's a symbiotic thread connecting past and present, and it continues to profoundly influence life in its basin. The significance of life along the Nile is captured through its historical impact on agriculture. The Nile's annual flooding deposited nutrient-rich silt on the surrounding lands, fostering fertile grounds perfect for farming. This natural phenomenon supported the agricultural economy of ancient Egypt, allowing it to become one of the most successful civilizations of antiquity. The Nile also served as a vital transportation hub that facilitated trade and interaction among different cultures, ensuring the flow of goods and ideas. A real-world example of life along the Nile can be seen in the ancient Egyptian civilization itself, which thrived because of the river's resources. The construction of the pyramids and the establishment of cities like Thebes were made possible by the abundance provided by the Nile. Furthermore, the river remains crucial today. Millions of people rely on it for drinking water, food production, and hydroelectric power, exemplified by the construction of the Aswan High Dam, which controls floods, generates electricity, and provides water for irrigation. Opinions consistently underscore the Nile's crucial role. Historians and archaeologists view the river as the lifeblood of Egypt's glorious past, while modern economists emphasize its role in supporting the economies of Nile Basin countries. However, challenges persist. Disputes over water rights, especially among Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia, which is constructing the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, illustrate geopolitical tensions. These conflicts spotlight issues of water scarcity exacerbated by climate change and growing populations. Life along the Nile cannot be isolated from environmental concerns such as pollution and habitat destruction, which pose serious threats to its ecosystem. This scenario ties into broader discussions about sustainable development and cross-border cooperation to preserve the river for future generations. The Nile's influence on settlement patterns, cultural evolution, and its continuing economic role make it indispensable. It serves as a microcosm of human interactions with nature, highlighting both the benefits and complexities of our reliance on natural resources. Overall, life along the Nile is an intricate tapestry woven from historical legacy and contemporary relevance, bridging the epochs with its sustaining presence. The geography and environment of the Nile region are foundational to understanding life along this legendary river. The Nile, the longest river in the world, flows northward through 11 countries in northeastern Africa, with Egypt and Sudan holding the largest stretches. It creates a lush green ribbon in an otherwise arid desert landscape. This unique geography has catered not only to ancient civilizations but continues to sustain tens of millions of people today. The significance of this geographic and environmental setup cannot be overstated. The Nile's annual flooding deposited rich, fertile silt on its banks, enabling agriculture to flourish in regions that would otherwise be barren. This fertile land supported the growth of ancient Egyptian civilization, which became one of the most sophisticated cultures of the ancient world. Today, the river remains critical for agricultural productivity, providing irrigation for crops such as wheat, sorghum, and sugarcane. A prime example of the Nile's importance is the Aswan High Dam in Egypt, which controls flooding, generates hydroelectric power, and provides water for cultivation year-round, thereby transforming the agriculture of the region. Additionally, Lake Victoria, as the largest of the Nile sources in Uganda, supports a thriving fishing industry, offering sustenance and economic activity crucial to the surrounding communities. Support for the crucial role of the Nile is widely acknowledged among scholars and environmentalists who stress how the Nile's ecosystem supports biodiversity and human livelihoods. Yet, challenges are abundant. The dependence on the river places immense pressure on its resources, leading to disputes over water rights among the countries it traverses. Climate change poses further threats with predictions of altered flood patterns that could devastate both ecosystems and agriculture. Controversially, some countries along the Nile have pursued aggressive infrastructure projects to harness the river's flow, which has sparked significant international tension. For instance, Ethiopia's Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has been a point of contention with Egypt, which fears its own water supply will be adversely affected. Ultimately, the geography and environment of the Nile influence many other aspects of life along the river. They shape social and economic structures, the political climate, and even cultural practices. From fostering ancient civilizations to underpinning modern economies, the Nile's role is a testament to how a river can dictate the destiny of entire regions and their people. Understanding this geography is vital to addressing the complex dynamics of cooperation and conflict in Nile Basin countries. The historical significance of the Nile River cannot be understated when discussing life along this iconic waterway. The Nile, stretching over 4,000 miles, is the world's longest river and has been the lifeblood of civilizations for thousands of years. Its predictable flooding cycles provided fertile soil which supported agriculture and allowed ancient Egypt to become one of the most advanced civilizations of its time. The river's role as a natural resource transcended mere sustenance. It was the very foundation upon which Egyptian society was built, facilitating trade, transportation, and cultural exchange. Two specific examples illustrate the historical significance of the Nile. First, the river was instrumental for agriculture in ancient Egypt. The annual inundation deposited nutrient-rich silt along the banks, creating a breadbasket of the ancient world that allowed Egyptians to cultivate grains, vegetables, and fruits. This abundance not only fed the population but led to surplus crop production, enabling trade and economic prosperity. The second example is the construction of monumental architecture such as the pyramids. The Nile was crucial in transporting massive limestone blocks from remote quarries to construction sites, showcasing the river's role in facilitating extraordinary feats of engineering and reinforcing the centrality of the river to Egyptian achievements. Opinions supporting the Nile's historical significance highlight its role as a unifier. It linked Upper and Lower Egypt, fostering communication and cohesion across an expansive kingdom. The river was worshipped as a deity, reflecting its centrality in Egyptian culture and spirituality, a perspective that underscores the reverence ancient people held for their life-giving river. While the Nile's historical role is overwhelmingly positive, there are challenges and controversies. One issue is the contemporary geopolitical tensions concerning Nile water rights, particularly as nations like Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt negotiate the use of its waters amid concerns of scarcity and regional stability. Some argue that this modern focus risks overshadowing the historical perspectives, potentially diminishing appreciation of its ancient significance. The historical significance of the Nile River deeply influences other aspects of life along the river. It set the stage for the development of complex society, impacting social hierarchies and governance. By underpinning agricultural reliability and enabling monumental constructions, it drove technological advancements and economic development. In essence, the river's history remains intertwined with the fabric of societies along its banks, influencing modern-day challenges and developments. Agriculture and irrigation practices along the Nile River have long been pivotal to sustaining life in one of the world's oldest continuous civilizations. At its core, agriculture throughout the Nile River Valley revolves around the annual flooding of the Nile, which deposits nutrient-rich silt on the land, making it exceptionally fertile. This natural irrigation supports the cultivation of staple crops like wheat and barley and provides a consistent source of food, which has been crucial for the development and sustenance of societies along the Nile. The significance of agriculture and irrigation in this region cannot be overstated. Without these practices, the dense populations and thriving ancient civilizations of Egypt and Sudan could not have survived in an otherwise arid environment. The engineered irrigation systems, from ancient basin irrigation techniques to modern pumps and canals, have enabled the transformation of arid landscapes into productive agricultural lands. These innovations underscore the interdependence between the Nile's natural rhythms and human ingenuity. One compelling example of agriculture in the Nile Delta is the use of shaduf, a traditional hand-operated device for lifting water, which facilitated the irrigation of fields far from the river banks. Another example is the Aswan High Dam, completed in 1970, which revolutionized water management by controlling floods, providing a steady water supply, and generating hydroelectric power. These practices have garnered support for their integral role in economic stability and food security. Experts often highlight how agriculture along the Nile sustains millions of lives while boosting local economies. However, this synergy of nature and human intervention presents challenges. Modern irrigation practices have sometimes led to issues like soil salinity and water pollution, sparking debate over sustainable practices. Furthermore, political tensions over Nile water rights have emerged among countries upstream and downstream, adding a layer of complexity to water management policies. Agriculture and irrigation are closely linked to other aspects of life along the Nile, such as trade, urban development, and cultural practices. For instance, the ability to produce surplus crops enabled trade and the accumulation of wealth, which in turn fueled the construction of monuments and cities that are now part of our world heritage. In sum, agriculture and irrigation on the banks of the Nile are not mere agricultural concerns. They are interwoven with the historical, economic, and political fabric of the region, highlighting an enduring legacy of adaptation and survival that continues to influence life along the Nile today.